Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So we got a comment here from one of my subscribers and she's asking about if companies actually provide accommodation to employees in the UAE. So if you're planning to get a job in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, in Sharjah or any of the other Emirates, you need to know if this company or if your company is actually going to provide you with accommodation when you arrive in the country. So because it is actually tough to get an accommodation, especially if you're out of the country. So for some people who are out of the country, it is beneficial for them if the company actually provides an accommodation whereby they can directly come from their country and move in as soon as they get in the UAE. However, the issue of accommodation is actually relative. So, which means that it depends on your company, it depends on the type of job that you're doing, your role in that company, and it depends on so many other factors that I'm going to talk about. So, I will just split this video into two different parts. We are going to talk first on some of the jobs and the type of accommodation that you can get, and also the other way around. So there are certain companies that are definitely going to provide you with accommodation, or there are certain domains in or industries that you are going to definitely get an accommodation, but this accommodation might not be suitable for you depending on your personal taste. So, and sometimes you don't have an option, okay, because it actually depends on your job. So there are certain jobs, like if you're working in the service industry, like you're working maybe like a construction laborer, you're working in the retail sales, you are working in the hospitality, you're working in like a janitor, a cleaner, for example, or you're working in the security companies. You have to know that most of these companies, because they hire mass number of people, they usually have accommodation so as to save costs. So these accommodations by these companies, what they do is they rent like an apartment, and they split the rooms into different sections whereby they can put in about let's say 4 or 5 to 6 people in the same room so as to save cost. Okay, so if you're working for like for example a security company, just know that your company might provide you an accommodation whereby you are going to share a room with about 6 other people, 5 or 6 other people. In that same room, you are going to share a toilet, a kitchen, and all other facilities available in that accommodation. Okay, the same thing applies to those who are working like cleaners. Most of these companies, they provide accommodation, and also those who are working mostly in the construction industry. So you are going to definitely get an accommodation by your company. However, some other companies, they give an option. They can give you an option whereby you might decide. They might say, if you don't want to live in the accommodation, they are going to offer you a small allowance, so on top of your salary, so that you can get your own place out of the accommodation. However, this amount might not be able to get you a place on your own, so you are still going to get into a sharing room or a shared apartment. So that is the first part whereby companies provide accommodation. The next level up in this is companies that provide a good accommodation for their employees. So, for example, there are some teachers that are coming from different countries. When they are employed, their companies provide them with accommodation, a good accommodation, for example, like a one-bedroom apartment, a two-bedroom, a three-bedroom. It depends on your level, your skill level, or your role that you're going to play in that company. And it depends also on the type of company and how much they're going to pay you, right? So if you're coming in like for a managerial role, there are certain companies that are going to provide you a good package, including an accommodation fixed already for you and your family, especially if you're coming with them. So if you're coming like for a managerial role, like in big companies, multinational companies here, they are definitely going to provide you with a good package. So there are other ways that companies provide accommodation. Some of them don't outrightly give you a place, a fixed place already, or an arranged area already, or arranged house already. No, some of them they actually give you that lump sum. So when you get into the country, they provide you with that lump sum amount, like for your 1 year, your accommodation for 1 year, because most of the lease agreements or the tenancy contracts in the country are usually for a period of 1 year. So most of the companies, if they want to provide you accommodation allowance, they are going to give you that amount of money for a 1 year period. They're going to give you that amount of money so that you can look for your own apartment. So if you come into the country, you can stay in a hotel for some time, then you can start looking around for the best place that suits your own personal needs, so that you can look for your own personal place with your family, and you can move in with the amount of money. If the money is not enough, you're going to add your own personal money on that, so that you can get a good place for yourself and your family. So those are some of the options. Okay, now in the other part, whereby companies don't totally provide accommodation, but they still provide accommodation indirectly. So this is indirectly in the sense that the company, for example, if your salary is 5,000 dirhams, the company might not outrightly declare that your total salary is 5,000 dirhams. They might give you that amount of money, 5,000 dirhams, but in the breakdown of your salary, you're going to see that there's a portion of that 5,000 that is for accommodation allowance. So you have a 5,000 dirham salary, but they might put there 2,000 dirhams for accommodation, 1,000 dirhams for transportation, and then 2,000 dirhams as basic salary. So this is wise in terms of the company, because they are profiting from this. They are very happy to do that, because at the end of your service, when you have finished your contract with this company, or at the time of you resigning from this company, you need to have a gratuity, right? The company is supposed to provide you with a gratuity. That is your end of service benefit. Your gratuity or your end of service benefit is calculated as per your basic salary, not your total salary. So your salary might be 5,000 dirhams, but your basic salary is 2,000. So when they are calculating your gratuity, they are not calculating based on the total 5,000. They are calculating it based on the 2,000 dirhams basic salary. Okay, so most companies, they usually take a chunk when they are doing the breakdown of your salary. The breakdown usually shows a big chunk of your salary going to accommodation or transportation. Okay, because if they give you that full 5,000 and they put it in your breakdown, because if they put that full 5,000 dirhams as your basic salary, it means that they're going to pay you a huge amount of money, a bigger amount of money at the end of your service. Okay, so that is the reason most companies are actually splitting that in the salary breakdown. It is wise, and this is also to show you that the company won't be providing you separate accommodation, because they have already allocated accommodation allowance in your total salary. So you will be receiving 5,000, but it is left for you now to either take the 2,000 dirhams and pay for an accommodation, or you can still take that 2,000 dirhams and maybe use 1,000 dirhams to get a different place for yourself. It is your money, so you are the ones to decide. You are the one to decide how to use that amount of money. Most people actually, they don't usually follow that breakdown. So they get the 5,000 as their salary. Of course, it's your money. Then you can now go and look for a cheaper place for maybe 800 dirhams or 1,000, and you pay. Or for some people, they are going to take that 2,000 dirhams and they still get a place for themselves. At the end of the day, it is your money. The company doesn't have any say. It is only in legal terms for the company to defend itself when they give a gratuity, to note that they based your gratuity on your basic salary only. 2,000, not the total 5,000 that they are giving you. So in a nutshell, yes, companies provide accommodation in the UAE indirectly and directly. So it depends on the company, it depends on their policy, on what they want to do. Some of them can provide you a place already and they can give you an option to move out, and some of them can actually just provide you a total salary with a breakdown in the salary package showing a portion of that money for accommodation allowance. So that is the case in the UAE. If you're looking for a job, it is good to actually pose this question to your interviewer, the person that is going to interview you, trying to pose this question to them so that you can have a clear picture of what you are getting yourself into. Because accommodation is one of the biggest things that is eating the money of most people that are working in the UAE. Accommodation is taking a huge chunk of our salaries. So people are suffering a lot. The house prices are getting up. The landlords are increasing the rents every single time. So it is very, very difficult to save money in the country, especially if you want to live a comfortable life. But if you want to take the grind, if you want to sacrifice your sanity, if you want to sacrifice your privacy and all that, you can always have a partition or a bed space whereby you can squat with some people, you can stay with some people, and you can save a lot of money. But again, your sanity is very important. So try to get something that you'll be a little bit comfortable and you can work. You can also stay healthy both mentally and physically, because it is important as you work in a tough environment. So that is the answer to the question. Yes, companies provide accommodation directly and indirectly. So I'm going to answer more questions that I've seen in my comment section on the different topics that I post about. And definitely I'm going to try to reach out to all the comments and answer. And also I want to let you know that I'm finally back on my videos. So I'm going to be creating content hopefully on a daily basis now. So stay tuned to the channel and see you next time.